A disability is a physical or mental condition that limits a person's movements, sense or activities. For some, it can mean they're bedridden and not living right, but for others it can be just a speed bump in their life that they can overcome. Just because your body can't function properly doesn't mean you can't live a life to the fullest and pick out the positives. We met some very inspiring people, Bo, Jim and Jack, and here are their stories.
My disability is distal arthrogryposis. It's a mixture between muscular dystrophy and muscular atrophy. My whole body except for my head is basically not meant to be working.
I've got what is known as bilateral avascular necrosis of the hips, and as a result of that, it's sort of debilitated me in my ability to be mobile.
It was a while ago, 1985. I was 25 years old and I had a motorcycle accident. I was racing motorcycles. I was actually in an event, it was called the Wind Safari, and it went from Sydney to Darwin. And in the third day, I think it was, I fell off my motorbike and broke my back.
A challenge to me is just an obstacle that I would either go under, over or around. Wouldn't let it stop me.
The biggest challenges, well, when you have a spinal accident, it's like going back to being a baby, you know. You've got to learn everything all over again, but unfortunately you don't learn how to walk again. But you do your bowel and bladder and all those things, they're all quite seriously affected with a spinal cord injury. So you have to physically learn how to control those again. So that would be the single biggest challenge that you have. Everything else you can put up with. Accessing
places, you know, so whenever I go to a party or I'm invited to go to any sort of function, I always ring up to find out beforehand, if I haven't been there before, what the access is like, because not all buildings are user-friendly for people with mobility restrictions. So in the 80s, I did a 4-year degree, a Bachelor of Social Work at Curtin University, and after that I did a Master of Social Work in the 90s, and towards the end of 1998 I commenced my PhD. The title of the thesis was Living Life, Living Well, Experiences of Renal Transplant Recipients.
Senior black belt within the martial arts school is a big achievement of mine. I was told since I was 6 years old that I would never achieve a black belt, and now I hold it.
When we've been out, we've been to places that many able-bodied people haven't been to, and I suppose the most obscure one would probably be a place called Baxton Camp, and it's a very, very isolated spot. It's probably the hardest four-wheel drive track in Australia at the moment.
The best part for me about being a ninja is that it's not just a traditional martial art.
Going in a race called the Australasian Safari, and the Australasian Safari is an endurance race. So everything's critical that things can last. So you're racing very, very fast over very rough terrain for a very long time.
Ninja is my life. I do ninja every day. I'm a volunteer. You know, I love doing what I'm doing, and I love helping the kids.
I got a job as a counsellor at Curtin University. Anything that came through the door we would see, and I found that a very rewarding experience as well, because I could feel as though I was doing something to the community.